while I was still in Cambridge, I collaborated with Neil Sloan to a certain extent, and about sphere packings and codes and lattices and things. And he and I planned to write a book. And we had a number of joint papers. And I bound these joint papers at the English equivalent of Kinko's into a volume, and I used to carry it around with me. And Neil rather admired this volume. And I said, well, why don't we publish it? This was when he was on a visit to Cambridge, and we went down into the basement, which was being remodeled or something, and there was a paper towel machine on the wall, and I pulled out these pale brown paper towels and wrote the chapters, well, the titles of about 20 of our papers on them. And then we sorted them into order on the desk and called them chapters instead. And it took 20 minutes. And I said, there we are, we've written a book in 20 minutes. That must be something of a record, you know.
And What's More, the book is tremendously influential and has had fantastic
now, yes,
reviews.
But it wasn't the same book that we wrote in 20 minutes, because then I came to Princeton, and Neil lived just along the road in Highland Park, which is essentially New Brunswick. And he would come every Thursday. He telephoned me while I was still in Cambridge and said, you know, I think we ought to uniformize the notation. Our papers were written at different times in different notations. Don't worry, I'll do all the work, he said. So he did all the work of uniformizing the notation.
And you let him do that?
Yes. And then, you know, another time there was another telephone call, and he said, I think I should write a little chapter between the first four and the later ones, changing the theme, you know. Don't worry, I'll write it, you don't have to do anything, you know. Well, this went on for some time. And then when I came to Princeton, he would turn up every Thursday and slave drive. I mean, he would make me work on this book. So what started off as the 20-minute book became the 7-year book. And they were 7 years of regular torture every 7 days, roughly speaking. He would arrive at about 10 or 11 in the morning and stayed till 7 or 8 at night. As a result of that, it got a lot better. You know, it was pretty good after 20 minutes. But it was tremendously improved as a result of Neil's work on it, and it got rave reviews.
Best book.
There's one review. Giancarlo Rota said, "This is the best survey of the best work in the best part of mathematics. It is written by the best people, will attract the best students, etc., etc." So I call that the best review. Although it's not actually the best review, there was another review
of the same book
by a guy called Forney, who started off by saying that this book reminded him of the 6 blind men touching the elephant. You know, one was holding its tail and another was holding its trunk and so on. And they basically described different animals. You know, nobody could have an impression of what the whole thing was like. And he compared this book to that. You know, nobody can follow the whole lot, but there are different people who can follow individual things. And then the final sentence, my God, it was fantastic. It said, "There is nothing else like it. And as an intellectual accomplishment, it is breathtaking." Oh, my God. And this arrived at a time when I was tremendously depressed. I actually attempted suicide in 1993. And I was still suffering from clinical depression. And these 2 reviews cheered me up no end. The best one, I copied out in black marker pen on a big sheet of white card, except every time the word best occurred, I changed to red marker pen. and I hung it up on my wall, and when I got, particularly depressed, it cheered me up no end. However, I shouldn't go on boasting for too much longer, although I'm quite good at it.